It used a whopping 6 quarts of oil on that trip, which is about 150 miles. So not exactly efficient there. You could call it a two-stroke. So about 3 years ago, after working on cars pretty much all my life, since ninth grade or so, I started wrenching on cars. That became the business that it is today. But about 3 years ago, I got a phone call or a message that said, will you look at a Murcielago? And from being a kid and knowing the cars growing up, it was a poster car for me that I, of course, said yes. I'd be happy to look at it. Mechanical background, it's nuts and bolts. It's the same thing, right? So happy to look at it. We got that car in, went through it for the customer. He had it for a few years and it moved on. But with the help of my good friend Ed as a custodian of sending more Murcielagos our way in order to kind of prepare us and bring us up to the being able to work on his cars, which still to this day are working great. So that's always good news to be sitting in the chair and say that the cars are good. So multiple cars came through the shop by way of Ed, and we got more and more experience. He helped along the way with Charles, our good friend, the Lambo mechanic of many years, so that we could gain all that knowledge and expertise on the cars. We did all the big investments. We bought the Lara tool, all some of the other special tools and so forth that hurt the bank account a little bit, but have seemed to have paid off with all the work we've done on the cars. But one car in particular was a 2007 LP640 Roadster in one of the most beautiful colors, balloon white, and came to him by way of Ed. Had just bought the car, and the gentleman said, hey, I just bought this car, and it's a little bit different than most because it is twin turbocharged. And he kind of bought it just by looking at it. I think he told me he was in Chicago on a meeting and spent just a few minutes, looked at the car, said, I want it, and shipped it directly to us here in Georgia. Immediately upon starting this car, we knew something was pretty wrong because we were met with quite the cloud of smoke. There was not a mosquito in sight that day or to this day. We went through that car for him, while he kind of decided what he wanted to do because, as with most car guys, he has lots of other cars to worry about, and this one was just a new toy to play with. But we spent a bunch of time with the car, and we're hoping it was something simple, that with the twin turbos that they were getting over-oiled or weren't draining the oil fast enough, and it was getting oil into the intake system. After isolating the turbos from the engine, we ran it for a good while, and it quickly realized that was not what was wrong with this engine, specifically on the passenger bank, that it just smokes constantly. And that is totally with the turbos disconnected from the engine. We started to investigate a little more, without going too far, because the client, again, wasn't too sure what to do. Check compression, and everything looked good there, which we did note that it did have a built motor, as they say with a turbo motor, that they lowered the compression in order to compensate for the extra pressure from the turbos. So all that looked good, but we did notice that there was oil on top of the pistons. There was oil dripping down the valve stems. I mean, this engine's full of oil. And so we knew then that something was going to be pretty substantially wrong, whether it needed the heads pulled and have a valve job done, or there was a broken ring land, or one of the piston rings had come apart or something like that. So I talked to the client about it, and he wasn't really prepared to go after spending so much on the car to actually spend close to probably 75% of that to fix the car. So we did a couple other things on the car, a couple other oil leaks just to get it kind of drivable and enjoyable. And he actually went on a mountain road with Ed himself, and it used a whopping 6 quarts of oil on that trip, which is about 150 miles. So not exactly efficient there. You could call it a two-stroke. He kind of parked it after that, and I didn't really hear from him. We'd touch base every now and again, and he's busy with other things in his life and so forth. But December of 2024, just a few months ago, I got a text that said, hey, Cam, I'm ready to fix the Mercy. What do we need to do? I started looking. I said, yeah, we definitely need to figure out an engine. And I looked into rebuilding the current engine, but so I knew at least we would need pistons. So I hit up my parts guy and said, are pistons available? Which, to my surprise, they were. But a set of 12 LP640 pistons comes out to just over $40,000. So with used engines running in the 30-ish range, if you can find one, because they're not very plentiful either, it made more sense to just say, let's get just a good used engine. You can get one with less miles and all of that fun stuff. Started getting all that in place, and about February, we were all ready to go. We had a deposit on an engine. We're just waiting for the go-ahead to spend all that money. And I got a text that said, you know what, Cameron, I don't think I'm going to fix it because I'll probably just end up selling it after it's fixed anyway, because I've got other stuff going on. And he said, you always told me if I wanted to get rid of it, to call you first. So that's exactly what he did. He said, do you want it? And, he gave me a number. I kind of went with a number, and we were at smack dab in the middle at my number. I emptied my bank account with my business partner, Andy, and we just kind of put it all together and said, let's do this. We want to make something happen. So now we got to spend a little extra money and get some more parts coming. I just actually bought the engine yesterday, so that's why I'm probably walking a little funny today. So the purchase decision aside, because I wanted one anyway, we've been working on the last few years and so forth, and really decided that this was the one that made the most sense to use as a shop project and bring back to life, because as these have, years ago they got modified and all that kind of thing. So there are some out there that are kind of beyond what most people want from a Murcielago today. And rather than see this car get parted out or whichever, we wanted to make sure that it got the actual useful life that a Murcielago should, because they really are truly wonderful cars. They are a meet your heroes moment. And with that knowledge of working on these cars, we know that we are able to, with our parts sources and, all those different things put together, like we used on Ed's cars to make sure he got that service bill that he was okay to pay but didn't really want. So all of that knowledge combined together really became a thumbnail in my head that said, this is a YouTube path that we want to go on. And we've been growing our YouTube channel the last year or so. It's DC Motorworks. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. A little shameless plug there. We've done a lot of the, it's around the shop videos and, the stuff that comes in on a day in, day out basis. But we knew we really wanted one just for us that we can do a full project from start to end. And like I said, this one ticked all the boxes. Cloud screen when you start up the car, it's the bumper's torn up. It's got all the things that go together to say that this is the project car. And it even got shared by Supercar Blondie, which was super exciting to have all that publicity out there that everyone can follow us along with that journey. So in all, the car needs an engine. We're going to go with a replacement engine. We will keep the original engine to see what we can do with it. Maybe it goes with the new owner or whichever. We've got some cosmetic stuff to do. I've hoarded away some Murcielago Pirelli tires for the last year or so, and I put together a full set actually in January, so that kind of worked out the timing perfectly. So those are going on this car with some original wheels, and I actually found out today I need to find another front wheel because it has a crack in it that is not repairable. So I say we got the bumpers, there's some interior stuff that could use some work. All the things that we're going to put together to really restore this car and bring it back to what people want out of a Murcielago today, which is, a proper, example that's been well cared for or has had a lot of service history. So this one will, because it'll have full engine out and all the stuff, clutch, all that fun stuff. Which to make it the car that it really is, which is one of 425 worldwide. So we're going to share all this journey with you. I don't think there's been one like this in recent history. So it'll be fun to have everyone along for this. And at the end, we'll see if I make some money or not. But it is all about the journey and the story and all the memories.
This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Bridgestone, and the most exciting news out of Bridgestone is the new release of their Turanza Prestige tire. It is their flagship Grand Touring tire, targeting luxury SUVs, crossovers, and sedans, like a Mercedes S-Class or a BMW X7. And this gives you all the whisper quiet ride that you want in a high-end luxury experience, as well as the wet and dry weather performance that we love from Bridgestone. And you'll get some of the greatest longevity they've ever had on street tires, 70,000 mile limited warranty. So we love Bridgestone for their sports car and supercar tires in the Potenza range. Of course, the Dueler AT Ascent that I've got on my Porsche Cayenne, I absolutely love. But whatever you're looking to find tires for, Bridgestone has something great. So check them out now at the link in the description below to learn more about the Bridgestone family of tires.